Today's episode is brought to you by Dorrington Plumbing, Gas and Electrical, and they provide quality-focused specialists for both residential and commercial plumbing, gas and electrical services. They've been doing this since 1995 and have built up a substantial reputation within the sector. If you're interested in these services, head to www.dorringtonplumbing.com.au.
Hi, I'm Ben Kostrich, and this is the Market Bull podcast. And today I've brought back Tony Sage, the CEO of Critical Metals Corp, to provide a bit of an update on what's been happening since we last spoke. So welcome back, Tony.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
There's been a flurry of announcements, and we'll dive straight into the main one, which is the announcement of some of the historical drilling results and what that means for investors. But what's happened over the last 3 months within the company that's sort of exciting for investors?
Yeah, look, it's huge. We were a D-SPAC, and on the 1st of March, we got out of that regime. So now we're a normal company on the NASDAQ. No historical interest from the SPAC. Which is fantastic. It means we can raise money quicker. We can do a lot more. We're a lot more flexible as a normal company where there were a lot of restrictions. So that's number one. Number two, we've managed to get through all of the historical data. I don't think a lot of people realise an individual, Greg Barnes, had the Tanbreez asset, and over 20 odd years, he did 366,000 samples, 414 drill holes. None of them have been made public. So our team have now gone in and basically digitised all this data, and we're now starting to see a lot of fantastic results, which were never published because Greg was a private individual. So over the next 6 to 8 weeks, a lot more of those results are going to come out, and they're very, very good. And for example, Greg did not know he had gallium on his ground. And gallium is a very, very important metal for the defence industry. And China's now banned that sale to the United States. So you've got companies like Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon that desperately need this gallium. And we've got a lot of it, and which was not known until we actually went through all the data.
And when you're talking about the intricacies of how much data when you're talking about the recent announcement that came out, how much, to give investors an idea, how much is still to come in regards to really painting the picture of this potential project?
A lot. I mean, we've actually just scratched the surface with the announcements that we've made. So just to put it in context, probably 97% of the work that Greg's done is not being made public. 97. So we've only really put out 3%. So there's a lot more to come. Plus the drilling that we did last October ourselves as Critical Metals, the core was stuck in Greenland. We finally managed to pass all the laws to get it out for assaying. So in the next 6 weeks, we'll get those results out as well of the drilling that we actually did.
Okay, so I might dive into both of those. The drilling that you did, how much was done when you're talking about next 6 to 8 weeks for the assays? How big was that campaign? And again, expanding on this additional 97% of data, there's going to be a hell of a lot of news for investors.
So what we did is when we came in, we looked at what gaps Greg had left. So we did a campaign in October last year before the weather set in. We did 20 holes. We announced one. We managed to get a ship out to Ireland, and there was an assay lab in Ireland, but we only managed to get one hole out. So the other 19 holes are in drums now. They're on their way to Perth, and we'll get them assayed over the next 3 or 4 weeks. So, yeah, that's basically a gap that Greg did in all his drilling. We wanted to drill this particular area that hasn't been drilled before.
And the news that I was reading is that now the team, as expected, is going to use this to quantify what the next step is and as you can imagine, take this further down the path towards a potential deposit. But gallium's in focus. Are there any other potential resources that are in there, or is the main focus really gallium at the moment because of that issue now with China?
The main metals that are required by the US Defense Department, hafnium is another one which we've got plenty of, zirconium. There's plenty of tantalum and plenty of niobium. Now, they're the 4 metals that we're going to concentrate on when we do the processing. So that's what we're going to concentrate on, the end product. But for now, what we want to be able to do is a complete bankable feasibility study, which we believe will be finished in October. The reason it's so quick is because Greg
Done the
himself
preliminary
finished one
work.
in 2019. So we're just updating it. So that's the number one focus. We put out a preliminary economic assessment that went out about 3 weeks ago, and the numbers are staggering. It's on 1% of the deposit, we've got an NPV of around $3 billion US and 180% IRR. So the numbers look great on the PEA. We just want to follow that up and do a full DFS. So our focus now is to get these results out, do a little small drilling campaign in July, and that will be basically infill drilling just to get a pit, 2 pits started, and those numbers will go into the bankable feasibility study around October.
And I can imagine, as you pointed earlier about Boeing and some of the bigger companies that want to realistically acquire some of these metals through deals or offtakes, are there discussions progressing, I can imagine, in your office about what the next steps are? Because you'd probably have quite a few individuals and companies that are interested in almost assuring that they're going to get supply when this eventuates.
Yeah, look, I think, and also this is so important geopolitically. I mean, at the moment, China and the US are at loggerheads. I notice a deal's almost been done. They're pausing the main tariffs that have been put on China and reversed. So hopefully a deal will be done. But the US is not silly. I mean, if you go way back in 2016, 17, Trump warned Germany not to do this deal with the gas with Russia because something may happen. So no matter what happens, the US and the West need a supply outside of China. No matter what agreement they come with now, you can't have China controlling 97% of the world's rare earths. So this deposit becomes extremely important. So companies like Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon, all the defence industry need to find an alternate source. We've only spoken to one of those companies so far, but the rest are on our radar, and that goes into our new management team, which is US-based, not Australian-based, which is fantastic for us going forward.
If I explore that was another bit that came to the market, was about the expansion of the team alongside you. I mean, what you would have been pivotal in making these decisions and really the process of bringing experienced people on board. And you talked about this last time we spoke about your ability to build strong teams and get the right people to do some of the work. Who is being bolstered onto this team alongside you to execute this?
Look, we got Mike Ryan. Mike Ryan worked in the first Trump administration in the Defense Department. So I just came back from Washington, and we went through the Senate rooms.
I did see some good photos as well.
We went through the congressional rooms, and we went to the Pentagon. And it's just amazing. A lot of people knew Mike. He was able to walk us through the Pentagon without guide, which is fantastic. It's
not an everyday occurrence.
It's a massive building. So he's number one. He's a director now. We've also got Thomas McNamara, 15 years on Wall Street as a mining analyst. So he knows all the fund managers. He knows all of the research houses. So very, very important on that side. So we've got a guy that knows everyone in the Defense Department, and we've got someone that knows everything on Wall Street, which I haven't got that experience.
And that goes down the point that, as you said, the progressing towards a DFS and getting it towards a mine, and now that it's no longer a SPAC, it's on the NASDAQ, the capital raising becomes easier.
Yeah.
And as expected, this requires funds to start up. But I can imagine having those two individuals involved really does, again, help streamline and provide the strategy to get to the next step.
Absolutely, and Mike knows where all the buckets of money are. I call them buckets of money because it's massive. You've seen recently with Doge how much money the US government dishes out, and there's money for critical metals.
Well, that was going to be my point. I'm pretty sure the Critical Minerals Act has got a substantial amount of cash waiting to be deployed for these materials in particular.
Correct, yeah. So look, the list of companies that the US want to help in this space was released, and that's US-based critical metals assets in the US. The next list that comes out are outside of the country. Which companies are they going to help? And we hope to be top of that list, given the interest Trump has in in Greenland.
And one of the other fascinations that you talked about last time was the accessibility of this project, given the trade path that it's got, and then also the port that's already structured. Yeah. Can you just again remind listeners about that, and I guess the ease of access to an extent of where this is positioned as well, which most people wouldn't really understand.
Yeah, the fantastic thing is about 400,000 years ago, we're going back that far.
It's a bit of a history.
The glaciers from this southern Greenland just got retracted. And as the glaciers moved, they gouged out these beautiful gorges. But the gorge that we're on goes straight out to the North Atlantic, so a ship can come straight in and 2 metres from the edge of our ore body, which is right on the edge of the fjord, is 80 metres deep. So a Panamax ship can come straight in, turn around, we can load. We don't even need to build a port because of the water so deep. We don't have to do any dredging. So most mineral deposits need $200 or $300 million spent on building a port. We don't have to do that. I mean, it's a floating dock system. Probably $20 million would suit. The tide is so good in that area, only 2 metres tide swell. It'll fit a floating dock, Panamax ship. So the ease of entry for these ships to dock, fill up and go out is very simple. And if we're going to sell the product into the US, it's straight down out on North Atlantic from Greenland, straight down the Canadian coast, straight into the US.
Oh, there's a lot of convenience there from their point of view, but I also remember you were talking about the interest for this project goes beyond the US as well, that there's a lot of people that are interested in this potential deposit, and that's the, I guess, luxury of the position that you're in is you've got a lot of people knocking on the door interested in it. So does that conversation continue to extend, or are you sort of narrowing it down now to?
No, we want to extend it. I mean, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I mean, the EU is desperate. I mean, if you look at the geopolitics there, they want to build up their own armies. The Germans, the British, the French have given up so many of their missiles to Ukraine. They've got to replenish them.
Yep.
All of the stuff that we've got will help make these missiles, and that's why the US is so interested, but the EU as well. And if we go the EU route, they want to actually build the processing plant in Iceland, which is a half a day trip. So it's much, much cheaper for us to get the product there. So, look, we want to do it both ways. We might be able to do both. I mean, our ore body is so big, we might be able to do half of the thing to the US and half of it to the EU. But, you know, those discussions are ongoing. We want to finish the BFS first.
So then if I pull on the thread of the BFS, that's a substantial tick mark on the strategy front. When can we sort of anticipate more information and news and more the plan to execute that over the coming months, if not?
Yeah. Look, you'll get it. The first thing is obviously funding. We hope to be on that list, as I mentioned, if we get some funding, US government funding, and that'll be a massive announcement. And we hope to get that by June 30. More results will be coming out weekly from the historic. Our results from our drilling in 24 will come out probably late June. And then the BFS, as more information comes to light on that, we'll progressively have news that flow out from that, especially on the processing side. Greg did a lot of work. He actually did pilot plant through AMEC, a company here in Australia. So a lot of that information hasn't been released to the market either, and we'll get that information out. So by the time the actual BFS comes out in October, early November, a lot more information flow will come, and especially on the financing.
And that's just going to paint the picture to what you've alluded to many times about the size and the scale and the significance of this deposit. I mean, as this grows, and there's probably potential for it to continuously get bigger based on the results, and as more of this historical drilling comes out. I mean, where does this put this project on the global landscape for size, importance, and the potential, really?
There's only 2 deposits outside of China that of this size. There's one on the Kola Peninsula near Finland. It's owned by Russia. So the US don't want to obviously deal there as well, given the history. And this one in Tanbreez. I mean, there's lots of other rare earths deposits around the world, but nowhere of this size. So this will I'll give you an idea. In 5 years' time, if everything goes well and we're in full production, we'll take up 50% of the world's rare earth production, heavy rare earth production. So at the moment, China's got 97%. That'll go down to around 47%. So that's how big this is, and we're well on the way now to getting to realising that dream that Greg had 20 years ago when he founded this deposit.
Jeez. And I know that we've talked about it previously, which is the next stage of once you've got the resources, it's the processing, it's the refinement, it's the utilisation of making this into what it is required. I mean, is there thoughts and steps, and I know got a few sort of positions in various companies that helps this as well, but has the company also naturally thought about what comes next in regards to the refinement stage of this?
That is the most important part of this project. We can set up the mine, we can export alphensionite and felspar to make the mine profitable, but in the end it's the rare earths. So the alphensionite is just byproducts and the felspar. So really we've got to think ahead and make sure that the processing part of this business, it's a separate business, it's a chemical business, is up and running. So there's several companies that have processing technologies that we're looking at very, very closely. And over the next 6 months, the most important part, and Greg has been involved for 22 years in this, so he's been taken away from the day-to-day, and his sole aim now is to find the right technology. He's already well down the track of figuring that out. And then we'll partner with someone and build that facility somewhere in the United States.
Oh, I love it. And from an investment point of view, I can already from what you've just talked about, there's a truckload of updates from the historical update to the current and future drilling program, along with funding and just the plethora. What would you say are the key points that investors should look forward to over the foreseeable 6 to 12 months as this project and company just continues to accelerate down the path?
I think number one is US government funding. If that comes, we're home and hosed because we don't have to go to the markets, right? So that's number one. And there's several buckets that we've approached. One is the DPA funding, which is about $30 million we've applied for. And the next one is Exim Bank loan funds. We've applied for $200 million there. We'll know those two, the first one by June 30, the second one by about August. So those two are imperative. The next one obviously is the BFS coming out. But in the meantime, a lot of work will be done on the processing side. We'll partner with a major in that area, and I think that'll give a lot of confidence. And then after that is the offtakes.
So there's a lot. And whilst this is all happening, I know you've got ventures in various different countries and also in positions. And I touch on iron ore is constantly talked about. And I know Cyclone's had some tremendous news come through recently. Do you mind, just as a quick aside, just mentioning what's been happening there?
Yeah, look, I also chair Cyclone Metals. Look, we had a fantastic deal announced, I think it was October last year, in a partnership with Vale. Nothing happened in December. Nothing happened in January.
Well, everyone's February. On break there.
Yeah. So look, we managed to sign the agreement with them in March. It's fantastic for us. It's a massive partner. The deposits in Canada, 15 billion tonnes of magnetite that will turn into pellets. We had very, very high grade, 71.65% pellet we can produce. So, but it's an $8 billion capex. So a little company like Cyclone couldn't do it by ourselves. When we announced the results, Vale approached us, and now we were in partnership with them. So fantastic deal for us. It brings in 240 million Australian dollars into the project, and over the next 2 years, a full bankable feasibility study will be done on that, but paid for by Vale.
Yeah, and for those that aren't familiar, Vale is one of the largest iron ore producers or companies in the world as well.
Correct,
so it's a big tick of approval.
And they've got 60% already of the seaborne pellet market. They don't want to cede that to Rio or BHP.
Yeah.
So for them also, it's a strategic asset because this will probably take them from 60 down to 30% if someone else had it. So
it's a big chunk of their top line if it disappears.
Very important. So we're very excited about that. The Cyclone price went up quite substantially, and I think it will go up further and further over time.
Oh, well, Tony, there's always so much to talk about when you're here, and I alluded if people want to learn more to go back to our previous discussion, because that was the tremendous exploration about your history, but also a lot of the projects you work on. But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to speak about the recent updates, and yeah, looking forward to getting you back again soon.
Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for listening to the Marketable podcast. Please remember that the topics and stocks discussed in this podcast are not financial advice. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to like, share, and follow. You can follow The Marketable on all our socials and keep up to date with global market insights.